Bushman's legacy was never built on glitter or gossip. It was built on vibration, the kind that hums low and steady from the chest, the kind that feels ancient. In the late 1990s, when roots reggae was rising again from the embers of dancehall dominance, his deep baritone cut through speakers like a drumbeat in the hills of St. Thomas. He did not chase trends, he carried tradition. He became one of the defining voices of the Roots for Revival movement, singing of righteousness, cultural pride, and spiritual grounding at a time when Jamaica's soundscape was shifting. Yet his journey has not been without storms. Over more than 3 decades in music, Bushman has faced public disputes, professional disappointments, and controversies that tested both his image and his faith. He endured a 20-year rift with fellow artist Natty King, a misunderstanding rooted in timing, suspicion, and wounded pride, before finally reconciling publicly in 2023. In 2019, at Rebel Salute, he stood on stage visibly emotional after his performance was abruptly cut short to one song. Tears streamed down his face as he spoke about respect, about preparation, about artists traveling miles only to be silenced by poor organization. In 2025, a leaked voice note ignited debate when Chin of Irish and Chin and Soundchat Radio released audio of Bushman allegedly calling him a devil, prompting fans to question the singer's conscious persona. Around the same time, Bushman referenced what he described as a targeted smear campaign against him, though details were never publicly clarified. He has also sparked discussion with outspoken political views, including labeling the United Nations a front and world police during an interview at Rototom Sunsplash. But if challenges measure character, then Bushman's resilience has only deepened his roots. Born Dwight Marvin Duncan on April 22, 1973, in the hilltop community of Spring Garden, Prospect Beach, St. Thomas, Jamaica, his story began far from global stages. The air there carries salt from the nearby sea and the scent of earth after rain. It was in this rural parish that he was raised in the Rastafari culture from the tender age of 2, not as a fashion, but as a foundation. The principles of ital living, reverence for nature, and spiritual consciousness were not adopted later, they were woven into his childhood. Details about his parents and siblings remain largely private, a reflection of his guarded personal life. What is known is that his upbringing shaped his moral compass and artistic direction. Today, he continues to live in St. Thomas with his wife and children, choosing the quiet rhythm of his birthplace over the bright distractions of Kingston's commercial centers. His formal education took place entirely within St. Thomas. At Lyson All-Age School, a perceptive music teacher first noticed the strength in the young boy's voice. One can imagine him standing shyly at first, then gradually filling the classroom with a tone far bigger than his frame. That teacher nurtured his gift, planting the first seeds of confidence. Later, at Yallis High School, he became deeply involved in the arts. He sang in the school choir, marched with the drum corps, and played the bass organ. Music was no longer just talent, it was identity. Outside the classroom, he strengthened his vocal discipline as a member of the New Testament Church of God choir, where his commanding presence earned him the nickname Archangel. In church halls, surrounded by tambourines and harmonies, his voice matured, powerful yet controlled, spiritual yet grounded. As a teenager, he stepped into Jamaica's sound system culture, working as a selector for the Black Star Line sound system under the name Junior Melody. Behind turntables and towering speaker boxes, he learned the pulse of the people, what moved crowds, what stirred hearts. Those nights were his apprenticeship in rhythm and resilience. His life shifted during an unexpected moment, an impromptu football game at Arrow's Dub Plate Studio in Kingston. There, he met legendary producers Steely and Clevy. Opportunity often arrives disguised as coincidence. They recorded his first track, Grow Your Natty, at Studio 2000 and gave him a new name, Bushman. At first, he resisted it, feeling it sounded derogatory. But after learning it meant medicine man in certain African traditions, he embraced it. The name transformed from insult to inheritance. His breakthrough came in 1995 with the hit single Call the Hearse. The song echoed through Jamaica and into the UK, announcing a new voice in roots reggae, steady, commanding, uncompromising. In 1997, he released his debut album, Naya Manchant, on Greensleeves Records. The project was critically acclaimed and is now regarded as a cornerstone of the roots revival era. The album did not beg for radio play, it demanded reflection. He later collaborated with legendary producer King Jammy, releasing Total Commitment 1999 and Higher Ground 2001, further solidifying his place in reggae's conscious lineage. In 2011, he paid tribute to one of his greatest influences with Bushman Sings the Bush Doctor, honoring Peter Tosh. The project was more than homage. It was a continuation of Firebrand's philosophy, militant yet melodic. Bushman's voice has carried him across all 7 continents, from Rototom Sunsplash in Spain to Reggae Gilles in Belgium. His presence has become a fixture on international festival circuits throughout Europe, North America, and Africa. His accolades include the Stepin Razor Award 2019, the Peter Tosh Humanitarian Award 2022, and induction into the Reggae Walk of Fame 2022, honors that recognize not only talent but impact. Financially, while no verified public figure confirms his net worth, his stability stems from decades of touring, royalties from approximately 8 studio albums, and ownership of his independent label, Burning Bushes Music. By retaining master rights and creative control, he ensured that his art remains both spiritually and economically his own. Yet, unlike mainstream reggae heavyweights known for lavish lifestyles, Bushman remains rooted. He lives modestly in St. Thomas, practicing a strict Ital diet and often visiting the natural hot mineral springs at Bath Fountain. The man who has performed on global stages still walks ruined paths, still values family dinners over flashing cameras. He maintains a close brotherly bond with fellow roots artist Luciano, whom he cites alongside Bob Marley and Dennis Brown as major influences. Their connection reflects shared philosophy more than industry networking, a kinship grounded in message and mission. Through controversy, acclaim, misunderstanding, and reconciliation, Bushman's journey reflects the duality of roots reggae itself, spiritual yet human, righteous yet imperfect. His life is not a polished fairy tale, it is a chant, sometimes steady, sometimes strained, but always authentic. In the hills of St. Thomas, where sea breeze meets red earth, Dwight Marvin Duncan continues to live as he began, not chasing noise, but carrying vibration.